Chip, short for a microchip, is tiny but incredibly complex modules that store computer memory or provide logic circuitry for microprocessors. From iPhones to cars, these can be found in most electronic products we use today. Not only this, chips are needed in weapons platforms like fighter jets to tanks. Ukrainian technical experts have found Western chips in many Russian platforms when some of these captured systems were taken apart and investigated. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes what the presence of Western chips in Russian weapons means. Let's get started. This video is sponsored by Guardio. Scams these days are getting pretty sophisticated, and even most tech-savvy users can't tell if a site is genuine or a phishing scam. There's a constant risk of falling into a trap, and this is where Guardio comes in. Guardio provides real-time browsing protection that can detect threats before they cause harm and keep your information safe. It'll save you from phishing sites, email scams, tech support scams, annoying push notifications, and malicious extensions that could be altering your browser settings. Run a free security scan in a few clicks. Takes only 30 seconds. Guardio has also just added a new feature that blocks remote access Trojans. With Guardio, you can enjoy worry-free browsing as it's reliable as well as affordable protection. It's available worldwide and more than 1 million users are using it. Guardio is providing the Defense Updates community with an additional 10% off on yearly and monthly subscription plus 5 free family members. So why wait? Click the link in the description and begin a 7-day free trial to try real-time protection. No charge during the free trial, no commitment, money-back guarantee. As per reports, Ukrainian specialists found 8 microchips from U.S. manufacturers like Intel, Micron Technology, and Atmel Corp. in its communication systems Barnaul-T air defense command post vehicle. The Barnaul-T is an advanced, fully automatic command and control C2 system designed to manage a variety of air defense systems at the brigade level or higher. This C2 system features modular architecture and integrates air defense units at the battalion, platoon, and individual gunners. Ukrainian specialists also found several U.S. origin chips manufactured by AMD and Texas Instruments in Pantsir air defense system. Pantsir missile system is a family of self-propelled, medium-range surface-to-air missile and anti-aircraft artillery systems. Starting with the Pantsir S-1 as the first version, it's produced by KBP Instrument Design Bureau of Tula, Russia, and is the successor to the Tunguska M1. Similarly, there were more than 30 U.S.-made chips in the KH-101 cruise missile, including those manufactured by Cyprus Semiconductor and Maxim Integrated. KH-101 is a conventional air-launched cruise missile, ALCM, that can fly at low, terrain-hugging altitudes to avoid radar systems. Coming to the Ka-52 Alligator, Russia's twin-seat, all-weather attack helicopter, the Ukrainian experts found 22 U.S.-made chips and 1 Korean-made chip in its turreted electro-optical system. These findings have 3 important aspects. Let's go through them one by one. Despite the sanctions imposed on the Russian economy in recent years, since 2014 after the annexation of Crimea, in some way these chips have gone to Russian weapons developers and designers. Viewers may note that these chips would not necessarily have to be acquired directly from the manufacturers, since there are lots of third-party vendors. Not only this, there is a huge, largely unregulated market for recycled chips in China, a country with which Russia shares a strategic relationship. On May 11th, U.S. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo told a Senate hearing that sanctions against Russia were forcing it to seek alternate sources of key components. Raimondo, who recently met with Ukraine's Prime Minister, stated, "We have reports from Ukrainians that when they find Russian military equipment on the ground, it's filled with semiconductors that they took out of dishwashers and refrigerators." While Raimondo testified that Ukraine said Russians have been using appliance parts in its tanks, there are clear indications that many not-so-generic chips are also falling into Russian hands. Some experts have called for stringent measures to restrict this flow. It's evident that Russia has a dependence on Western technology. Russia's lagging behind when it comes to manufacturing state-of-the-art chips. It's already come to notice that the failure rate of Russian missiles is high. 3 U.S. officials with knowledge of intelligence on the issue told Reuters that Russian precision-guided missiles are failing up to 60% of the time in Ukraine. It's a massive number. The failure rate of 20% is considered high. For example, it was reported that on the 20th of May, Russian troops launched a Caliber missile strike on Odessa region using aircraft. The missile, costing $6.5 million, failed to hit any important Ukrainian asset. Instead, it destroyed a beach toilet in the south of the region. As per the findings by Ukrainian experts, older components, including outdated chips, are being used in many platforms, which could be the reason for the high failure percentage. Not only quality is an issue, but quantity is also a problem. There's a shortage of chips required in many systems. For example, frontline strike aircraft, like the Su-34s, have been downed when flying at low altitudes by manpads like Stinger. Russian forces appear to have held back the precision-guided armaments that Russian attack aircraft, such as the ones Su-34, were designed to carry and deploy from high altitudes. The reason for doing so seems to be the fact that the Russian Air Force is lacking the required quantity of precision-guided munitions, or PGMs, which need sophisticated chips for their working. Weapons supply is one of the key exports for Russia. Russia accounts for nearly 19% of worldwide weapons shipments. However, according to the latest Stockholm International Peace Research Institute (SIPRI) report, titled Trends in International Arms Transfers, Russian exports fell by 26% between 2012 and 2016, followed by a steep fall in its global share from 24% to 19% between 2017 and 2021. Now that the findings in Ukraine have exposed issues with the Russian arms industry, implications go beyond the battlefield. The revelation that Russia is dependent on Western tech for manufacturing weapons could further erode the Russian export pipeline. Nations will be wary of buying systems from the country, since they'll know that Russia may not be able to provide after-sale support.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos like this. Hit the like button if you find the video interesting, and kindly provide your feedback in the comment section. This will help us improve.